Hello, my name is Vladimir Foltin and I'm GA Project Certification Manager and ATM Expert in EASA. I will be presenting to you our proposal for acceptable means of compliance and guidance materials to comply with the requirement in SERA 6005 Charlie. What is this requirement about? As of January 2023, all manned aircraft operating in U-space airspace and that are not provided with air traffic control will need to make themselves electronically conspicuous to U-space service providers. So we have developed a proposal how to comply with this requirement in practice. Before developing the proposal, we have had a look at it from three different perspectives. The first perspective was manned aircraft perspective. The major conditions or requirements there were affordability to end users. So every airspace user can have affordable option available for them. It needs to be a technology that is available now, regardless whether it is aviation or other technology that meets the criteria. We have concluded that a single device policy is a good way forward to allow one single device to comply with the requirement. The installations, if needed, would need to be simple and straightforward. And of course, the devices and technology would need to support broader airborne collision risk mitigation for manned aircraft, even beyond U-space in a longer term. From the perspective of U-space service providers, so-called USSPs, who will provide traffic information service to UAS operator, we have understood that they need to know what is the minimum necessary position information that will be provided by main aviation as a position report. We considered that provision of information from third parties is an option in the proposal. Of course, the main concern from USSP's perspective was that any infrastructure needs, so additional infrastructure, new infrastructure, will be as affordable as possible and ideally compatible with the UAS needs. So there is a dual use of this infrastructure. And they need also that a minimum performance requirements are met so that the objective of use space are achieved. The third dimension is from the perspective of resources to be able to link aircraft with USSPs. So what we discussed there were that the existing international standards, aviation and other technology standard should be used. The resources should be applicable or possible to be applied in a pan-European scale, so there is no fragmentation of use spaces in Europe. We thought that to protect the spectrum, at least a regulated spectrum should be used, so that there are clear criteria how to use that spectrum. The information provided over the resources should be machine readable, this means digital, and the standards need to be open. There should not be any proprietary restriction or any royalties associated with receiving that information. Of course, underlying objective was that all of these would need to be suitable for urban and low-level environments where we expect the use space to be deployed. We have had many contributors and partners in this journey, and I would like to applaud them all for accompanying us and providing various good inputs into the development of this proposal. We thought that mobile telephony could be also, as a non-aviation technology, useful for this very minimalistic basic aviation use. And for that purpose, EASA decided to commission a feasibility study to learn whether the existing mobile telephony technology can make aircraft electronically conspicuous to USSPs. And I will underline today because we need to know whether today's technology is suitable for that purpose. I invite you to watch a separate video from my colleague Hete Hoikama on this specific topic when you can learn more about it. So what we are proposing as means of transmission. First of all, and no surprise to you, we are proposing certified ADS-B out technology so that existing certified aircraft can make themselves conspicuous to space service providers. Of course, this technology needs to be deployed in all member states. Therefore, despite we are referring to UAT technology in the proposal, in effect, it applies only to ADS-B out using 1090 MHz for the time being. As soon as UAT technology will be coordinated in the future in all member states, it will become automatically available as additional technology. The second option is using devices that are transmitting on SRD 860 frequency band. There are around 50,000 devices out there that are not always necessarily compatible today, and what we are proposing is to utilize these devices in case they will be adapted to comply with the new specification in ADS-L or ADS-Lite. And we are in the discussions, or we will be shortly starting discussions, technical discussions with the OEM partners to make it possible. The idea behind is that the devices will be adapted to the ADS-L standard. ADS-L standard or specification is explained in a separate video by my colleague Dimitri Garbi. And the last but not least, we are proposing a third option for airspace users to select mobile telephony to make other airspace users that are not using one of the previous technology means to make themselves conspicuous. Of course, the information provided by mobile telephony would need to be in compliance with the newly proposed ADS-Lite or ADS-L specification. Here I would like to underline that there are certain things to be completed still in terms of mobile telephony. More information is in the already mentioned presentation by my colleague Teo Kema. Of course, this system would need to be installed or used as a non-installed equipment in the aircraft. So for system installation, we are proposing some guidance. For certified ADS-B out devices, there are three possible ways how to comply with installation. So to meet a requirement is CS certification specification ACNS, or to make the installation in accordance with more simple certification specification for standard changes, or to comply with AMC 2024. In terms of SRD 860 frequency band devices or mobile telephony devices, there are basically three options for airspace users to install them permanently in the aircraft. So one is to ask for EASA design approval. Typically this could be introduced through a minor change process, or to install the devices using the certification specification for standard changes for small aircraft, sailplanes and balloons. These specification will be amended shortly with the issue 4 to allow installation of various iConspicuity devices. In case of national aircraft or nationally regulated aircraft, or as we call them in EASA Annex 1 aircraft, national design approval may be necessary. Of course, certain airspace users are unable to have installations because there is no airframe, like for example paragliding community. So, or in case of national or light aircraft, there is no need to necessarily install these systems on board. So if these users will decide to use a non-installed equipment, they should comply with some requirements in air operations requirement, be it at EASA level or at national level. We provide also some additional guidances to airspace users for to manage signal obscuration. It is important that any device, if it is not installed in accordance with accepted procedures and processes, ensures that it can maximize ground visibility of the transmitting stations and antennas, so that to ensure proper functioning of the functionality on board. We should not forget that there are other users, military and state aircraft operators, to whom this requirement is SERA 605 does not apply, and they have right not to be conspicuous to use-based service providers. For that, we provide some basic guidance to implementers of use-based, so that they ensure that there is a national level coordination that will assess the risk of these non-conspicuous aircraft operating in use-based, and based on that specify necessary communication means between the USSPs and those operators or representative of those operators. Of course, as well as in case of use-based airspace designation, that these operations are regarded during the designation, and also the ability or otherwise not to be conspicuous in that airspace, so that need to be considered carefully. Last but not least, how to manage safety, how to safeguard safety of this functionality in this proposal. We are offering 3 hints to airspace users and USSPs. So first, USSPs should, in case of any known irregularities, inform the competent authority in accordance with Article 18H of the Regulation 664 from 2021, which provides the means to report these issues. Manned aircraft, they should report in accordance with Regulation 376 from 2004, which is going to be amended in relation to use-based proposals, and they should report any irregularities known to them using this framework. And last but not least, in case of pertinent and urgent safety problem, the authorities, responsible authorities, shall determine corrective actions, including directives and recommendations how to safeguard safety. So to conclude, we are proposing 3 independent means of aircraft making themselves conspicuous to USSPs. Of course, there is still some work to be done in relation to SRD 860 frequency band. We need to conclude on standardization or complete the work on standardization of transmissions. And in terms of mobile telephony, there are actions needed at the telecommunication regulator side, more of it in the separate presentation. Any of these technologies, however, would need to be supported by each and every use-based service providers out there. So it will be up to users to decide the best technology suiting their needs and operation, and USSPs would need to be able and capable to receive any of these technologies when the use base in Europe is established.